So right now we're just waiting for a guest. Oh, he just joined! Yay! Perfect. Yeah, Arthur, we're so excited. If you watched our Tipsy All the Way live stream last year, we did a Christmas movie review of Rudolph, where we talked a lot about bullying, unknown character names in that movie, lots of things. So I'm really excited to have Arthur back on from Cents Critic to talk about Santa Claus is coming to town. So we can join him
Let him on
in.
our stage there.
Yeah, we can put him
Hello.
Hello. How has today been for you?
I feel like today has been just a regular old day. Some days I'm more anxious, some days I'm more hectic, but today is a regular old day in comparison to other days.
Good. I'm drunk.
Yes. Oh my gosh, my tummy hurts.
And I'm sober.
Oh, no. My dogs are going crazy.
Yeah, your dog.
Yeah, they're a little angry apparently.
That's okay. Yeah. So, Arthur, if you just want to talk about your podcast a little bit before we get started on our movie review, let people know where they can find you, who you are, etc., etc.
Well, sure. Yeah. So, Cents Critic, that is my podcast, and I do the reviews for books, movies, and TV shows. And I've had the host of Opinionated Lushes on Cents Critic as well, and always a fun chat on there. And if you want to find the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at 2_Cents Critic, and I'm also got a personal account on Twitter and Letterboxd and TikTok at Arthur_Ant18, and just find me on the socials on there. And yeah, books, movies, and TV shows, love them.
We've been on I think all the Lushes total have been on 4 episodes. I know Sonia and I have reviewed 2 shows. We've been on your anniversary special.
Yeah,
we reviewed a book.
Yes,
Dawn was on an episode.
Yes. And don't forget, also there's a Free Guy movie review, and
that's the movie. Yeah.
Fucking
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
We're big fans. So today, again, we're reviewing a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas live stream. So we're reviewing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I'm just going to give a brief synopsis in case you've never seen this movie, which I don't know how you couldn't. It has
everyone in our lifetime.
Fred Astaire, Mickey Rooney, lots of big names. So here's what IMDb says the storyline is. You can tell me whether or not you agree. The mailman decides to answer some of the most common questions about Santa Claus and tells us about a small baby named Chris who was left on the doorstep of the Kringle family, brackets toy makers. When Chris grew up, he wanted to deliver toys to the children of Sombertown, but its Burgermeisters too mean to let that happen. And to make things worse, there's an evil wizard named Winter who lives behind the Kringles in Sombertown, but Chris manages to melt Winter's heart as well as the comely school teachers and deliver his toys. So that is what IMDb is telling us this movie is about. I didn't realize it was that intricate, to be fair.
That's pretty intense for children's Christmas movie.
The thing that's really jumped out to me was using the adjective comely for the school teacher for Jessica. I was like, oh, okay, that's a specific word to describe someone.
That's what they wrote. I actually have a few things that are I wrote notes as I do. I'm gonna start. It starts with the mailman, right? It's the narrator is the mailman.
Yeah.
His name is SD Kluger, and the SD is what gets me. Do any of you remember what he says it in the very beginning of the movie? What SD stands for? What his name is? SD Kluger. What SD stands for?
I don't
Scott Douglas.
remember that detail personally.
Special delivery.
His mom's like, you know what? This is the job you're gonna have. This is what I'm gonna name you. That's it.
Yeah,
no other path for you.
Special delivery to handle the Christmas mail, all the special little letters from the kids. And the letters that he opens up, by the way, even though it's shouldn't be doing that.
It's illegal, but he doesn't care. Yeah, so Special Delivery Kluger is his name. I guess special first name, delivery middle. But yeah, so that was a fun little detail in the beginning of the movie that stuck with me. As you all know, I really cling on to the names in these movies because I'm always curious about them.
You don't stick to like real life names. Like
No.
a real person can be like, "Hey, my name's Steve," and you're like, "I don't know what the fuck that is." Yeah,
no, but
That's out of his brain.
yeah.
Is there any parts of this movie that stuck out to you two?
There's just like the one song with the mean wizard, like you gotta put one foot in front of the other. Like that is wormed in my brain my whole life. And just sometimes when I'm walking and I'm thinking about what I'm doing, that just comes into my head and
You're literally doing it. You're like, I
Yes,
gotta remember
yeah.
how to walk 1 foot.
yeah.
It.
And then then it's like another song, the one from like Family Guy, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Like it's just like a fucking concert. It's just in my brain all the time. But mostly from that movie, it's just something that always pops up. I can't get rid of it. It's stuck. It's embedded.
What
It's
about
funny
you,
that-
Arthur?
Well, I want to say it's funny that you bring up that song, Sonia, because I was talking about this with a friend of mine on Discord, and she doesn't really care for Christmas all that much, kind of a Grinch, which I can understand. But that song, it has stuck with her. She even typed out the lyrics on Discord.
Yeah.
And she was like, the song
It's
sticks with me."
catchy. It's very
It is.
motivational, not just for
is.
Christmas.
It's
Yeah.
good advice. You know, just
Just one
take it
step.
step on step at a time, you know?
Yeah, but for parts of this that really stuck out to me, I would say definitely Jessica's song is really that stuck out to me just because of the visuals of it, how much of a fever dream it is. Like that one part is like, oh, that goes in a very specific direction. That song also, I guess Burgermeister also sticks out to me, just how grouchy of a villain he is, and it's like, and it's so hilarious to watch him be like, good toys, but then also he loves a little yo-yo when it's handed over to him. He plays with it briefly, but also like, you say you can do tricks with a yo-yo, but you just do one
Up
thing,
and
you don't do
down.
anything else.
Yeah, that's a trick. If you could do that, I'm like, oh.
I feel like I would love a prequel to this from Burgermeister Meisterburger as a child. Like, I want to know what trauma he went through that caused him to be like, toys are illegal.
Yes. How did his heart become so hardened, so grinchy? What happens to him? Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
like we
also his head guard. I love his head guard too.
yeah, we get the Grinch's backstory, but we don't get Burgermeister Meisterburger's backstory, and I feel like that's what's missing in the world.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's like more about this Meisterburger fellow.
It was just his name. That's the trauma. He's like, how dare I be named Burgermeister Meisterburger? That seems unfair.
Yeah.
This
All the
fellow
other kids get normal names.
this fellow who, by the way, somehow is the recipient of the baby. But I'm wondering, I'm sure he has a famous reputation for being a dictator, basically, in this little town. So why would the parent be dropping off the baby to him when it's like, you know, he's not going to take care of the baby, right?
No,
So why would you do that?
She's
I
just set up.
said Burgermeister seems a little fashy, you know what I mean? Like just the way I that was actually one of my main themes of this whole movie. You know how we did the whole big theme of like Rudolph and bullying and that kind of thing. With Santa Claus is Coming to Town, I find it shows that like laws do not equal morality. Just because someone says it's a law doesn't mean it's morally bad or morally good. You know, they made toys illegal. So what happens? Well, they organize and they have people illegally bring in toys and stuff like that. You're not going to say they're the bad guys, even though by law they technically are. Right?
Like, it's a really good message to kids too. Like when the government's being like dicks, kind of rally up and
I know. Why are my
your
parents so
toys.
surprised? I'm a raging leftist. They made me watch this movie when I was 5 years old. I don't understand.
yeah,
Bring in the
you made me
toys.
watch these things.
bring in the toys and deliver them. And even when the houses get locked down, then Santa just goes down the chimney.
Right? They organize, they make it happen as a community, even though it's illegal. I'm just saying. And Sunshine, it is Kluger according to IMDb. Okay. That is where I got my information. I thought Kruger too, but it is Kluger with an L for some reason.
Freddy Krueger, why not? Like, that'd be great.
But yeah, that was my big theme I found of this is that, again, laws do not equal morality. But we know Burgermeister is the bad guy, even though he's the one making the rules. Technically, he's the one. Yeah, his guards are the police in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So just keep that in mind.
Enforcing the law. So thankfully, see, some Meister burgers do die out, as it says at the end of the special. They die out, they fall out of power, and the citizens, they all celebrate.
Yep. No more chores. Yeah. Speaking of songs, one of the things I did, some of the song lyrics, I don't know how close you guys listened to them. But that's
the 1 foot.
Okay, that song that what Mrs. Kringle or what the head Kringle, female Kringle, what she sings when she sings the toy makers, like they were the toy makers of the king or whatever that song is.
Oh yeah, that song. I do love that song actually.
Okay, I'm gonna read 4 lines from this song. Okay, and you tell me what you think of this song, okay? All the soldiers must stand erect, for the kingdom they protect. The balls must bounce much higher, if they please his royal sire. I thought that was they could have separated erect and balls and
a little further from
a little further.
Yeah, I did not catch on to that, but perhaps sounds great. Put a distance between them.
What, you didn't hear erect and suddenly perk up? That's what happened to me. I was like, oh, what? You're like, what?
Not from my brain, that's from your brain, apparently.
Which balls are bouncing? It's the balls they were making as toy makers, I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, what everyone's pleased him, I guess. Yeah,
so, not like old Santa balls just dangling on the ground. It's just the
I know. I love these old stop motion claymation type movies.
I do love that art style, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the Rankin Bass stop motion. It's very pleasing on the eyes. And I actually recently saw Krampus, and in that movie there's like this just a flashback that goes for, it's not exactly the Rankin Bass animation style, but it goes for that. This little flashback in the movie. And again, even just stop motion in general, like Coraline,
Coraline's
I love
favorite.
Coraline
Oh my god.
Yes.
Fantastic Mr. Fox as well.
Chicken Run. Or whatever that's a feminist movie of all the movies. That's probably the most feminist movie. A group of chickens trying to break out from the patriarchy that makes them just lay eggs. Yeah.
Are you talking to me?
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the patriarchy. We're smashing
my chickens. Like, that movie reminds me so much. So I have a chicken called Pidgey, because she looks a little bit like a pigeon, and she is so smart. She when we had them in a certain pen, she would dig on one side, but then jump over and start like digging on the other side. And she was like trying to like tell them to like, come on, guys, come on. Like, we don't have to be here. We can move. And then when we let them all be free range, she like, okay, like, let's hide here and hide our eggs. So like, and then they'll all follow her. Like, she's like their leader. Like, she's Queen Chicken, I guess.
Chicken Run in real life.
Yeah. But I still take their eggs. I find them. I just bring out snacks and I see where they're running from. And I'm like, okay, I got to go there.
To attempt the funerals to protect their eggs, their possessions.
They don't attack me for getting them, but
that they have attacked you though. I've seen video.
there is a chicken that does. He's dead now.
Oh,
you
good for
attack
him.
me, you get murdered.
He was a rooster.
Yeah, he was a rooster, and one time I got so beat up, I had bruises all over me. And yeah, he became dead. That's what happened.
That's chicken run. That's why they tried to escape.
Yeah, they didn't want to be chicken pie.
Roosters. I can definitely imagine a rooster giving you bruises. They are, ferocious creatures.
They are vicious. You're like, oh, it's just like a chicken. It can't do anything. Oh no! Like don't let them near your throat. It's gone. You're just like, oh, protect it.
No. It's like honey badgers. I think of honey badgers as well in terms of ferocious creatures.
Yeah,
honey badgers
all
don't give
creatures.
a fuck. Yeah.
I do not have honey badgers.
I do want to say, back to Santa Claus is coming to town. Back to my names thing. We learned that the teacher's name is Miss Jessica.
Yes.
Which means Mrs. Claus's first name is Jessica. Jessica Claus. That's Mrs. Claus's name. I just want to say I didn't know that till this movie. Right? Yeah, like according to this movie, I don't understand why Santa Claus has so many names. You know, Kris Kringle,
but she gets Jessica.
She is Jessica Claus, Jessica Kringle, technically, I guess.
Because the baby, okay, when Santa has a baby, he's got that little necklace that says Claus on it. But then they just dismiss the name. When the Kringle would pick him up, and they're like, "Oh, let's name him Kris Kringle." And I'm like, "What happened with Claus? The original name?"
Like, fuck that, no. It's like adopting a 2 out of 3 of my cats I adopted when they were 4 years old. I didn't change their name because they're 4 years old at that point. Like, I don't feel good naming them at 4 years old. But they had no problem taking this human baby that had a name and changing it. Seems a little weird to me.
Yeah.
Changing the baby. A lot of people do though. Like when they adopt a baby.
I don't. I
fuck you.
Don't.
Fuck
Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to adoption, I have very like specific things like I believe with that. Like I don't think, and that's saying my husband has adopted legally my son, but like he has my last name, and like that kind of stuff. I just feel like if you're like erasing that part, that feels weird. If you're adding on to that part, that's different. But if you're just like erasing, you're like, no, they're my baby, no one else's baby. Then it's like, okay, you're being weird about it. Like,
yeah,
a person.
I fall into the same perspective personally.
I do want to. In the beginning of the movie, the Kringles are talking about how they make toys. They're Special Delivery is talking about how the Kringles make toys and how they make toys, but even though they're toy makers, they can't give the toys away anymore because it's illegal. So I'm just wondering how that business model works. They always make the toys and give them away, but also they live in an area that's completely snowed over all year, so they can't grow things. So are all elves carnivores?
Like, you think they're eating each other?
Well, I meant to cannibals. I said carnivores.
I was wondering. I saw that. Wait, what did you say?
Oh no!
No, they're just the only food they can get is hunting, not each other. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
That should be so dark if it turns out the Kringles have some weird family shit going on, eating each other.
A whole different movie.
Family Guy did that joke. Family Guy has the episode where, because of how capitalism is, they had to constantly create newer, better toys. And you know how hard it is to make a PS3 and that kind of stuff. So they have to keep inbreeding the elves, and they can't feed all the elves. So the elves end up eating each other and being all inbred and weird. Yeah, so they made that joke. This is a small family with no one else. So eventually inbreeding would happen if they created more elves.
Yeah.
There's a few of them, you know, like it.
And they can't.
And these for people somehow. I mean, I don't know.
How does this work?
And they don't have magic until after the wizard comes. Like, he's just a regular dude until the wizard gives him magic. So it's not like he could like help feed them before then. So there's like something going on before he becomes Santa Claus.
Before the baby even showed up, like they could have just eaten the baby.
Not enough meat.
Again, that is a completely different movie. But oh my god, this is uncomfortable to think about, but also fascinating. I don't know. I feel like I'm trying to think about food, like hunting for food, hunting for reindeer, caribou, hunting for squirrels, raccoons, penguins.
So we can at least agree it was a mostly meat diet.
And pine cones, I'm sure there's plenty of nutrition in that.
Yeah.
You can make flour out of pine bark. There's berries, holly, Christmas holly, that's on certain colder environments.
So a couple berries, some caribou, and pine needle flour or whatever it was.
We're having holly pie all the time.
All the time.
So that would be quite a limited diet, but I guess you could make something work with that for the whole.
Your heart would you would live only to like 25, I feel.
Again, they'd have to inbreed to keep it going. Like these elves, I mean, maybe like these elves.
They'd have to old age, right? I mean, they're living for a while.
Beards.
So somehow.
Yeah.
The beard, right? And then also the wait, who's the mother? Is it like Mrs. Claus, right? The mother, I guess.
I don't think she was Mrs. Claus. She's Mrs. Kringle. But she doesn't marry Kris Kringle, so she can't be Mrs. Claus.
Okay, right.
It's a really creepy mother-son relationship. Like it's just like I'm gonna be Mrs. Claus, but I'm your mother. Like it doesn't. The lineage doesn't make up. Like
well, that's what I'm saying. Like this is a great story on the start of Santa Claus, but also too many loose ends that are leading to terrible ends.
Because are the Kringles brothers? I forget. Are they supposed to be brothers or cousins?
See, there is no like family tree, so like it just confuses.
They're toy makers. They're the Kringles.
Yeah, the Kringles.
And they have a long lineage from when there was kings. That's what we're told in the King song. They were the toy makers of the kings, their whole family. So there must be already inbreeding there.
Already started. That's it. Like nobility. It's
just too early for us to see the problems. It's just
it's going to take a few generations. Yeah.
Oh, and then think about I guess how we continue the lineage was then Kris Kringle and Jessica Claus. So I guess you could just have them as a kid continue the whole Christmas lineage, I suppose.
Yeah, he gets the magic from the wizard. It's genetic. Somehow it's like turned into his DNA.
To be fair, Kris Kringle is not related to the Kringles, so he would have to have like his kids mate with their really old non-biological aunts and uncles.
Or they go to town. There's a town right there.
Somber town. It's not very big either. It's all white people, so we know there's inbreeding there too. Like, come on.
Oh, somber town. That whole isolated town. Oh dear.
I did notice another thing.
Another thing?
Yeah. You notice how Kris Kringle's pupils suddenly every once in a while get really wide?
Yes, I did notice that.
Drugs?
Yeah, is it bad animation or drugs?
Drugs. Like, I don't know. He's yelling at kids. They're like, why? He's like, I'll tell you why. And his eye pupils get really big. I'm just saying. I mean, there's a lot going on here that I feel like if I want a story of the underbelly of the Claus Corporation.
When you bring that up for some reason, his eyes, then it makes me think. There was a song. Do you remember the lyric in one of the songs that was like something about sitting on Santa's lap, and then it was like a kiss, a toy is the price you'll pay. And I just feel like that specific lyric sticks out to me now, and it's like I don't think it ages too well, does it?
No, I got questions. That's
in the question.
This is what I'm saying. Like I love this movie. It hits me in the nostalgia part of my heart. But it does leave me with questions. There's too many unanswered lines.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think the sanest person in this movie is Mr. Winter.
Giving up on life. Right?
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I'm mad, and then finally he's like, oh, I guess it's not so bad. Okay.
I guess compared to everyone else, so the old Winter Warlock who's got
the Winter Warlock, yeah,
who's been trapped up, who's been keeping himself closed off from everyone else, and then he goes through a bit of an existential crisis.
Exactly. That's the sanest person in this movie.
Yeah, the most realistic.
But then, he loses his magic for a bit, and then he's got all of this stuff with him. What was it, like the candle stubs? And
it's like witchcraft.
Magic quantities.
It's like, here's a snowball. Magic. Woo. Like, but I still think he's the sanest person in this whole movie.
Maybe it's from the future and it's not magic. It's just science they don't understand yet.
It could be.
Theory. Yeah.
Oh my god. Also remember the dried up potion he had with him too? The dried up can of potion.
There's so much in this movie, and it's not like okay, maybe this is me being old. You let me know, Arthur. I wish movies were this short again instead of 3-hour epics.
Yes.
You know what? I understand that. As someone who watches a lot of lengthy movies, sometimes I'm like, I do appreciate the short ones.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's nice to watch a movie in under an hour, I guess. I mean, I guess it is missing a story. Like, again, I have questions, but I have questions in 3-hour movies too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not... Kyle's going to lock up the chickens.
Yeah, he's just like, he can text. I'm probably not paying attention. He's probably texting me and I'm like ignoring it. He's like, I gotta go. Something happens, just so you know.
Oh, chicken emergency.
I'm not coming back. Or it's like his equivalence to like, I'm gonna go get a pack of smokes. He's never coming back.
He's never come back. I'm protecting the chickens.
I'm out there with them right now.
But getting back to the movies, though, movies I think about, like long movies, like it's a Batman, which is like 3 hours long, but I love that movie. Or again, it's 3 hours, but I love that movie. I feel like if the movie itself is good, I can stand a long movie, a long runtime. It's when a movie is bad or mediocre, then it's like, well, then I'm feeling the runtime drag along.
Yeah, no, it really depends because there's like some long movies that like I like, but they have scenes where I'm like, oh, they didn't necessarily need that. You know what I mean?
Like that.
But there's also long movies that I mean, fuck, if it's a good TV show, I'll watch 5 hours of it in one go.
Like one day. Yeah, one day.
Shows. I always hear about that. It was like some people will be like, well, I can't watch long movies, but then long TV shows. Then it's like, well, they'll watch multiple episodes. So it's like it's interesting to see like contrast between movies and TV shows.
Yeah, have you seen the newest Hunger Games yet?
I haven't, but I want to. Hopefully, I can see it.
Have you read the book?
Yes, and I enjoyed the book actually quite a bit.
I read the book and I was very nervous for the movie because I thought they'd focus it on as like a love interest. I'm not going to give any spoilers, especially if you read the book. It is very close to the book. It gives a lot of good feels of the book. It gives a lot of the nuances that the book gave. So I think it was very well done just because it's very difficult to like do a story from the antagonist, perspective, which is what it is, without making them likable. Which the book did really well. So I was worried about the movie, but the movie did it as well. It's very long, but that's one of the long movies where I felt like every scene was necessary.
Okay.
So
I'm glad to hear that. As a Hunger Games fan and as someone who actually did like the book, I'm glad to hear that. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to the movie.
It was actually my favorite movie to book, compared to the other Hunger Games movies to book.
Oh.
Because the other Hunger Games movies left out parts that are very important in the book, like whole characters. They did not do that in this movie. So, very good.
Very interesting. Very interesting to hear as someone who has particularly a lot of love for Catching Fire. For me, I feel like that's probably my favorite adaptation from the book to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it was very well done, very long, but very well worth it. But like, I understand like why movies cut things out or add things, because visual medium versus reading is different. But yeah, I still like short movies every once in a while. But TV shows, I don't know. I don't always have 4 hours for something.
You know what I think needs to be redone? As a TV show, What's the Story Wishbone? I think that could totally be updated with new like graphics and everything, and like maybe Disney can get on that. Thanks.
Do you know
we're gonna make free new stuff? Let's do that.
No,
I think kids need it, like to like really bring back the love for literature. Sure, there's book talk, but what about for kids? Let's get on.
I loved that show.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Really? Wishbone?
Is it only Canadian?
It might be. I'm actually looking it up right now, and I think it is a Canadian show.
Okay.
Oh, no, it says country of origin, United States. It only had 2 seasons of 50 episodes. But what it was, Arthur, I mean, I think Arthur's just too young.
I think you're a baby. I think you're my daughter's age, and Wishbone was gone a long time since she was born.
It had a dog. And he would go into stories and like act out it's where I first learned of like things like Sherlock Holmes, even. Like,
it's all about like classic books. Classic literature is its main focus.
I see. I'm looking it up. I see the dog here. Okay. Wishbone. Why do I feel like I've probably heard a reference to this?
I talk about it all the time. I'm like, Wishbone.
It's so good. I remember watching that. It's like PBS. You watch it, and you get to learn all about literature as a kid before you're even old enough to like read it.
He came out what year? 1995.
So I was 4 years old. Yeah.
I was 10. When I was watching Wishbone, I had there was no right watching it. It would come on later on, and like friends were like, "Hey, let's go outside." I'll be like in the 8th grade, okay, and I'm like, "I'm not allowed out," and I'm fucking watching Wishbone. So it's fine.
I wasn't alive when this was out between 95 and 97, so that explains maybe why I haven't heard of it or why I can't remember it consciously. At least I'm sure I probably heard some references to it though, and I'm just not recalling them right now. My brain.
It's like,
we'll have to start a 2-cent a review podcast of like old TV shows he missed for being so young.
Be like, oh, Ari, you got to watch this one.
The TV shows that I have not seen, or just like the books are before my years.
Exactly. We got to educate you a little bit. Says the guy that has like hundreds of review episodes on his podcast.
It's like books, movie shows, like he's on it. We're like, hey, we need to educate you a little.
About the smaller shows.
Yeah.
Even though I did watch,
you might have missed this. We'll show him Breaker High.
We just talked about this with the last guest, Breaker High. Have you heard of it?
No, it makes me think of Sky High.
No,
Yeah.
we had Ryan Gosling on it when he was like younger, and it
Ryan
was
Gosling.
yeah.
Before his young Hercules days, he was
Yeah.
on Breaker High.
Breaker High. Okay.
It is basically school on a boat, like teenage schoolers on a boat.
Like
They go
that's
to
like
school on
high
a boat.
school sounds terrible to begin with, but being stuck on a boat.
Oh wow! I see. I see the young Ryan Gosling here. He's got like a potted hairstyle going on.
yeah.
It's
His
good.
hairstyle hasn't changed much, by the way. You see him, it's like pretty much the same. Like he's like, you know what? Why fix it? It's fine.
It is, and now he has a huge star coming off of Barbie. Not just Barbie, but obviously he's had plenty of other movies.
Yeah, but there's only a
Mostly
few-
Barbie now. Is all
Yeah,
he's gonna be
mostly
known
Barbie.
for.
There
It's one of my
is
favorite that he's in now. Like it's
Barbie. 100%. There is there's a comedy skit on YouTube. If you search Ryan Gosling's acting range, it'll pop up, and it's this guy that acts like Ryan Gosling, and he's like, the bigger I get, the smaller my acting range gets, and he's actually on like a horse range, like like cowboy like range, but he's
Yeah.
acting as Ryan Gosling, and his range just keeps getting smaller.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's pretty good.
Yeah, he acted more when he
In
was like
Barbie.
yeah. But like in Breaker High, he was a very like eccentric character. Young Hercules the same. But then once he started getting like movie roles, it's very like mellow, laid back. Yeah, band based.
Mellow.
And his interviewing is the same. Like in his interviews, it was always like very energetic. Interviews now very nonchalant. Like, oh yeah, I'm here.
Mhm.
Well, see, I feel like in something like The Nice Guys, I feel like he's got more of a higher energy in that. Have you seen The Nice Guys?
I don't think so.
'Cause
I
that's
don't watch
really good. I really
very
like
many Ryan Gosling movies, to be fair. Like
Oh.
Barbie was probably the most recent one. My
Okay.
husband was a big fan of like, was it Driver or
Drive.
Drive? Yeah.
Drive's a good one. Drive's a good one.
I liked
I
him
never
in
watched
the
it.
one with Steve Carell. And then like he dates the daughter.
Oh,
He's teaching the dad not to be such a loser.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been years since I last saw that. I do want to rewatch it sometime, see how it holds up. I hope I still like it. I know there are parts of that movie where it's like, oh, that is cringy as hell.
Yeah. There's so many things from like just even 10 years ago that you watch now, like after there's been like so much education. Tanya, you're not missing anything. It's just starting now. And I'm like, I totally didn't get ready for winter yet. We'll just see what happens. Like, at least in Ontario, you're like, I'll go away in a day. Here, once it starts getting cold, it's the same way for 6 months. You're like, oh, shit.
Last year, our first snowfall in Southern Ontario was Christmas Day. This year, we've had one. It lasted about 12 hours. So I feel like it's gonna be like a lot of people, they're like, Canadian, it's igloos, and I'm like, no, actually, most of the population of Canada lives in Southern Ontario, where global warming or global climate change made it so we don't have winter anymore until January.
And it's for like 2 weeks.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
And here in Seattle, there's no snow so far in Seattle. But
So
still,
far.
like, some rain. Not as much rain as you would expect for a place like Seattle, but some rain. Enough at one point, there was like rain coming through the window and it was leaking onto the carpet, onto the
That's
floor.
the worst.
I love Seattle. I've been there twice. Not for like sightseeing or anything, but like what I did see, there's like this board game place. I fucking love it. In the market, there's like, I don't know what that's called. There's like the first
Pike
ever
Place?
Starbucks.
Pike Place?
Yeah, is it Pike's called Pike's Place?
Pike Place? I think I feel like you might be talking about Pike Place. I'm not sure.
There's like the Sky Wheel near it. I don't know.
That should be Pike Place, yeah.
Okay, like the first ever Starbucks. You go down a big fucking hill. Anyway,
Ooh.
loved it. There's the fish. They throw the fish every once in a while.
Yes.
They do like a little fish show. Yeah.
Now that is an icon of Seattle.
I've never been. I'm jealous. We'll have to take an opinionated, luscious trip down there.
Just to see the fish show.
Yeah, just that's it. That's it. We're just there for a day. We're just here to see the fish.
And of course, I gotta meet you too. I gotta meet the host.
Right, I would love to meet you in person, Arthur. I'm just gonna bring us back because we have 19 minutes left. I figure we should, or I guess less than that, 9 minutes left until
maybe go back to what we came here for.
Yeah, I just want to give us our ratings at the very end, but I just want to pull back to a couple last minute notes. I just want to say, very boomer ideology in this movie. Santa Claus is mad at kids crying. That's considered misbehaving. Can't cry or pout. That puts you on the naughty list. I thought that was very boomer knowledge, boomer-esque, right? Like, you're bad for crying.
Yeah.
We gotta suppress the emotions of the children rather than maturely handle them.
Right? He's coming to a town called Somber Town, first off. And he's the one doing illegal shit. So he's the one breaking the law. But these kids are like, I'm sick of chores and toys are illegal. And he's like, don't you fucking cry.
I'll get you to cry about.
I'm like, okay, yeah.
You can't do this. No. You can't. For a good portion of the year, it feels like you gotta be good for the whole year.
So, right, it's like no emotion.
Your award is toys. Let's really end with consumerism and capitalism and the toys and materialistic needs.
It's like the fucking pizza party you get. Like I
at a job.
I realize you're having a hard time. Here's a pizza party. You're like, I just want enough to pay my mortgage. You're like, no, pizza.
Two slices maximum.
Take the money from the pizza party and just hand it over to me, please.
Yeah, like the $4 a slice here, I'd like it. Thanks. Yeah, bus fare.
And second last note, also whoever wrote this never played with children, because they're like, oh, these children only do chores because they have no toys. Not realizing that generations before toys, kids just played with sticks and rocks. Like, they can make a game out of anything. So they're like, no, without toys, kids just do chores. Like,
children, you're creative. Don't make crap out of anything, like you said. So
yeah. So I'm just gonna give my rating. I love this for nostalgia reasons. It definitely brings the Christmas spirit, but it also reminds me that the older generations forgot that children were people.
That was a big thing. Children were not people.
No,
that's a newer age thing.
So I'd rate it like a 7 out of 10. And 6 points of that is nostalgia. 1 point of that is claymation.
Yeah, the way it's made. Yeah. How would you already?
I'm gonna go for I'll do it. 7 out of 10. Again, a lot of that is nostalgia for this little holiday special. Something that I saw quite a bit as a kid, and it's fun to watch, even if it brings up so many questions. And the consumerism of it all, like I said before, but it's still pretty fun. It's funny. It gets some laughs out of me, and it gives some good ground for discussion.
Yes, yeah. Our generation really makes things rates them on better just for nostalgia alone. Because I'm like, 7 because it's been my whole life. But. I don't think I like the story anymore. I'm just watching it because that's what I do every year, and it's hard to break generational trauma, I guess. Well,
I think part of it is also the nostalgia sits in our brain because back then things were affordable. And life was different. So our nostalgia is back when before life turned to shit and food is unaffordable to upper middle class people, for fuck's sakes.
Oh my god, it's nostalgia for the years before my
90s was the best. When we were younger, the 90s was the best. Like it just went like once it hit 1999, it just went downhill. Like 2000.
When I was 8 years old, you're right.
Yeah, like
young,
2000
young.
hit, and like it's just been a rapid decline. Like I blame the Y2K. It didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. But that was like, that's it. Party like it's 1999 because now. So.
That's it. I do want to say, just because I have you on here, Arthur, and I know we're very opinionated, I do want to say free Palestine while we're here. We talked about it on our podcast, and I know you're very vocal about it, which I appreciate.
If you follow me on social media,
yes,
Yes.
like,
I do it. I do the announcement.
you're very vocal about it, which I appreciate. I feel like not enough people are using their platforms for that ongoing genocide that's going on. So I do want to bring that up, especially because, like we said, with this theme in this movie, laws do not equal morality.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
My left is soul to fire that races on.
So if you want to use this these last couple minutes, again, plug your stuff where we can find you and everything else, and we appreciate you coming on again. It's awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. This was such a blast. And as always, and again, my podcast on Twitter and Instagram at 2_Cents Critic. That's the word 2. And then my personal accounts on Twitter, we've got Good Pod, Storygraph, Letterboxd, and TikTok. That's Arthur_and18, the number 18. And I've also got a blog too at 2centscritic.com, the number 2. That's a blog where the podcast launched off of. So check me out on all those socials and, check out my book, movie, and TV show reviews.
Thank you so much, Arthur, for coming on. Again, check out Cents Critic. We've been on his podcast a few times, and we're definitely going to turn this into an episode being released the last week of December. So definitely check that out if you happen to miss it, I guess. Bye, Arthur. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll be happy to be on your podcast anytime you are reviewing something. Hunger Games.
Always keeping in mind. Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.